Hello guys, welcome back to this second part of our server side for our MERN stack application called Party RSVP app. In the first part, what we did, basically we could register a user. We can log in a user, then get the token, and with that token we can access a protected route, which is user, and get the user back. So and now what we're going to do is basically do the guest for any user. Okay, so we can we can read guests if there are any from the database, and we can add, remove, update guests, pretty much full CRUD. Okay, so to begin with, what I'm going to do is basically in this models folder where we already have this user model, we are going to create a new model for our guest. Alright, so what I'm going to do is basically copy this, and then I will close this. So, and in the same folder we are going to create a new model, guest.js. okay, and I will paste because we will be using a lot of same things. Okay, so if you remember from our client side, we would need a name, and the second thing we would need is basically phone, and the third thing, I'll actually just copy this and I will remove this unique because it won't be unique. Right, so after the phone we need the third one. I believe it is dietary, and that's also a string, and I'll change this to is confirmed. If it is confirmed, and that's a boolean type, so boolean, and in here I'm going to put a default, and default is going to be false. And for dietary I want to put a default as well, so we'll leave that required. So default is going to be non-veg. Alright, so and one more thing which we are going to do here in this guest model, we would need to add a user. Okay, so each guest would have a user, so let's just do that. And the type is going to be a slightly different type, and we're gonna say mongoose dot type, I believe, yeah, no, sorry, mongoose schema dot types, then dot object ID. So and reference would be users. So let me just show you what I'm doing here. So if I go to my database, and if I go to my collections, so each user has this ID, okay, which is type of object ID. This is why we are giving this object type object ID. Okay, and for this users, this is the collections. Okay, so this was created in our database users with S, so this is the collection we're going to refer it to with this type. So which means each guest would have a user, and when we access it, it would access with this user the related guests. Okay, I hope it is making sense, but if it doesn't, it would. Okay, I know it is slightly confusing, but once you get a hang of it, it is a lot easy. It is very simple and easy. But if you're doing it very first time, it's slightly, it confused me as well. So this is why I'm trying to explain. So each guest would have this user. Okay, so this is the guest model. Now we can just save and close it. And the next thing, I'm going to go into server.js, and then here I'm going to copy it down, and this is going to be guests. Alright, so now we are going to go into our routes and create this in this routes folder, and guest.js, and this would have, let me actually just save this, and this would have all CRUD. Alright, so like we would have a get request, delete request, put and update. Okay, all of those in this, and they all will be private routes, so we would have to use same auth we did previously to protect them. Okay, so here I'm gonna go const, and we're going to do router, and we are going to require, as we previously been doing, express, and then we're gonna do dot with capital R router and initialize it. Okay, and next, the first I'm going to get our guest model. I'm going to get that, so here I'll use guest, and then actually sorry, with capital G rather. So, and then we are going to require, and that's gonna go into models, and then in guest. Okay, and before I forget, I just want to do sorry, not module dot exports, and we are going to export our router, and above this, just making some room here, the first we are gonna do is get request. Even though we don't have any guests, so I still want to do it. It would get an empty array. Okay, and rec and res, and also we need to bring in our auth middleware, which will make it protected route. Okay, so let's bring that in as well. So I'll just say auth, and then we're going to require, and we are going to require sorry, that was meant to be in middleware, then auth. Alright, so now we can put auth here, so it is a protected route now. Okay. And I'm gonna go and mark this as async, and we will do a try catch here. In the try, we are going to create a variable called guests. Alright, and we're going to await it. So then we're going to do, on this guest model, we're going to do a find, find, and here we are going to find with user. So that's with, so it will be looking for with the user. Okay, so this is why I was trying to explain it slightly slower. So this is gonna come from our auth. Okay, so we if you remember, we did put in the request. Okay, so rec.user.id, so that id is gonna come from there. So then we will be looking with this user with this object id. Okay, so if we have guests, then we can definitely res.json, and we can do guests. Alright, and if there is an error, then we do console dot error, and we will put error dot message, and of course we're gonna do is res dot status, and the status is going to be 500, and this is going to be actually just do a send, and we will do server error. Okay, and save it. And pretty simple. I think this is the simplest one we are doing here. Alright, we are getting an error. So what is the error? User model card was completed. I think I would have done so guest. Oh, sorry, I was meant to do this guest, and yep, and that should be guest as well. This is what happens when you do copy paste. Sorry about that, guys, so just fix that for me, please, if you're following along. So hopefully, yep, okay, all good. Alright, all good. Okay, so yeah, just change this to from user schema to guest schema, and then also here, because we are going to create a new collection, guests, so guest. Okay. Okay, I'm just gonna close this. Alright, so the first route is done. So even though we don't have anything as a guest added to for any user, we would still get an empty array. So let's go to Postman, and here I already have this. So first I'm gonna go and log in, and this is the token we are getting back, and then copy paste it, and then we go into header and paste it. Okay, and now if we change this to a get request and to guests, okay, and just do this, there we go, we are getting an empty array because we don't have any guests yet. But the good sign is we are getting this empty array, so this means this is working fine. All right, so now next let's do a route dot post, so we can add a guest. Okay, so this is going to be, we'll put auth as well here, and then we will do our request and response, and here basically we are going to grab name, phone, and die. That was dietary. Yep, sorry, dietary. I don't want to make another typo. So, and also is confirmed, and these are going to come from our rec.body. So with these two, they are going to come from inputs. So we going to do the same thing. We will do we will use our express validator to do our validation. So let's bring in the express validator again. So if you remember, we do get a check and validation result. Okay, and they are coming from our express validator. And the way we do this is basically we put going to put a comma here. Actually just wanna move it down so we can read it easily. Right, so first we're going to do check, and the first thing we are going to do is check is name, and we will say please provide name, and we will do not is empty. Okay, and then we will do a second check, and that's going to be for phone, exactly the same way we did previously. Okay, so please provide phone, and then we will do this exactly same, not is empty. Right, and next here we are going to create errors, and here we are going to do is validation result, and they are gonna come from request. Okay, and if not errors dot is empty, then we want to do something here. So we will return res dot status, and this status is gonna be 400, and JSON, and then here we'll do error, and then errors dot array, and if everything is okay, then we're gonna go under here, and before actually I do that, I want to mark this async, and here we want to do a try catch. Alright, and we are going to create maybe new guest, or maybe just guest part. Just do a guest. Okay, and this this is going to be a new guest with capital G, and here we will pass user, and the user is going to be rec dot user dot id. Okay, and then we need name, phone, and dietary is confirmed. Yep, and that will do. So once we have created a new user, then we want to save it. So I will just say, please just change this to let. For some reason I keep typing. That's going to be guest, and then here we will do await, and we want to do guest dot save. Alright, so which means we will create a new user and save into database. Alright, and if there's an error, then we will do as we've been doing, console dot error, and we'll do error dot message, and status is going to be 500, and we'll do send and say server error. Okay, I just want to get rid of these extra spaces. Okay, So in this way we can add a new guest into our database for any user. Okay, alright, so let's check it. Before that I forgot one thing. Let's start JSON and we will do the guest, otherwise we won't be getting anything back, so it will get stuck. So if I go back, and as we already have this token, which should be still okay, if I go to body and then we do a post request, and here if we just change this to our guest, so name maybe this Idris, okay, and then phone, we'll just do 1 2 3 4 5 6, I don't know. And then that was dietary, maybe non-veg, or maybe vegan, so we can, and here there is confirmed, we'll do it true because by default we have false. Okay, so this is going to be post request with this, and hopefully it works. See, so there we go, we are getting our guest back, so the one we just started. Okay, so now that this guest has an ID which is coming from, so we know it is coming from our database. Okay, so it also has user, so which means the user we logged in with, that was I think with idris@gmail.com, so that would have this guest. So let's just add another one basically, so just change this to rain, and we just, if we don't put anything, so if we don't put this one as well, so send, oops, done. You know why? Because we have to be marked it confirm required to true, so we have to put those. So actually put this back, and we put this on veg. So now we have Hurain Idris as well. Okay, so now this means Idris@gmail.com would have two users as two guests in it. Alright, so that's that. So actually let's just do get request. Okay, and if we go, I should have saved these, but anyways that's okay. So if I just do email again, which was idris@gmail.com, and password, I believe it was 1 2 3 4 5 6, I think so. So let's just do a get request, so we should get those two back. So see, we are getting our first guest and then we are getting our second guest back, so which means we, so far so good. Okay, so we can add and we can get those guests back. Okay, so that's good sign. So next thing is I want to update and delete these two requests. Requests are remaining, so let's just do basically maybe update one. So I'll probably delete, I'll do delete first. Okay, So with the delete here, we are going to do we're going to need to pass we will be passing id, because we will be looking with an id, and then we will update or delete with according to with the id the guest. Okay, if it is not, I know I'm trying to explain, but I'm struggling to explain, so it will make sense, just keep watching. All right, so request and response. Okay, so we're gonna go and mark this async. All right, and then first we wanna see if there is a guest. Okay, so let's just do try catch here. Okay, and we're going to do that guest, and here we will do await, and then on our guest model we are going to do find by id. All right, and here we need to find with rect dot params dot id. So because we are putting this as an id, so we just have to do id, because we will put an id of the guest, and then we will find it with the id in the database. Okay, and see that here we are going to do an if condition. If there's no guest, okay, and then what we want to do is we want to return, and we will return res.status, and the status would be 401. No, I think 404, sorry, because not found. And we will say message msg, sorry, not found, guest not found, maybe guest not found. All right, so if that is okay, we did found the message as a guest, then we need to do another wait, and then we will find, we will on guest, what we will do is basically we will find by id, and I think it is removed, delete wouldn't work, I'm not too sure. Yep, so we will put rect dot again params dot id. So once that's done, then we want to send something back, because otherwise we wouldn't know what happened. Okay, so we will say send and guest removed, maybe removed. All right, and if there is an error, then we will do a simple console error. All right, and here we will do error dot message. Okay, and status would be as always we've been doing 500, and we will send a server error. Okay, so this will be, this is pretty easy one. Okay, so the next we are going to do update the guest, and let's just do router dot put. Alright, and again this is going to be with an id as well, because we would need to provide an id to which guest we want to update. Alright, and we will mark this async instead of I keep forgetting and then coming back. Request and response, and then in here we will grab name, iPhone, dietary, and then is confirmed. Okay, and that's gonna come from rect.body. Alright, so once we have those, then we want to do a try catch. And in the try, we will basically what we would what sorry, actually above this try, I just want to create another one, updated, maybe updated guest. I don't know, I'm just making it up. So here we will set it to name phone, and what is coming in, okay, and is yep, confirmed. So this will be whatever is updated, they would be set it to this object, okay, with the updated value. And then we want to in the try catch, here we are going to do is basically exactly the same thing we did here. So we will actually copy this, because if there is no such guest, then we will say there is no guest, okay. So if there is one, then we need to update it. So before we deleted it, so this time we are going to update it. So guest, sorry, and again we are going to await, and then we will on guest, which is our model, and here we will do find by ID and update, right. And the ID again is going to come from rec.primes.id, because we will be sending through the ID. And the way we do, the way we updated, we will do money sign and then set, and then we will pass our this updated guest, okay. So updated guest, so we want to set it to that, and then another object is going to be and new to set to true. True, what I'm doing, looking too far. So this will basically update the guest, and then we want to send it back as a response as well. So we will do send, sorry, res.send, and we will send this guest, okay. So once it is updated, and if there is an error, we will do a console.error, and then we will do error.message. Here we will do res.status, and the status is going to be 500, and then we will do send and a server error. So now our whole CRUD is complete for this guest. So all of these all of these get post, delete and update, they all they all are private routes. So this is why we are protecting them with this authentication, okay, with this middleware auth. So let's just test these two, delete and put. So as we have these two guests for this user, okay, so let's just grab an ID of this one, the first one, okay. So which is, who is this? Azhan Idris, okay. So if we do a delete request, and we will pass here an ID, and then if we do send, guest removed, which means if we do a get without an ID, actually it doesn't really matter, but I'm just, now we are getting only one guest just because we removed one guest, okay. So also let's just test this one, and we will grab the ID of this user and put it here, and do a put request, and we need to actually, I'm gonna remove this, because we have in our header we have a token, so okay, so it doesn't really, we don't really need that. So I'll just grab this, oops, copy it. I know I could have saved it and this wouldn't be this hard, but I don't know why I'm not doing this. So wouldn't need an ID, don't care about user. So let's just change this to maybe vegan. Okay, and do it. Okay, something went wrong. What I've done, let me just quickly. Alright, so I just rewrote basically, so it is working fine now. I don't know what was the problem with that, but anyways it does update because I changed the font to 333, so it is working fine. So I just want to give another go. So let's say we change back it, maybe change this to non veg, send it, and now it is non-veg. Okay, so it is updating the guest as well. All right, and another thing which I want to show you is basically now we have only one user. What if we have multiple users? So so I just want to do a post request, and that's going to be on our register. So I can register a new user, and here in the header I'm gonna remove this token, and in the body I will just create a new user quickly. I know it is going to work, but I'm trying to show you guys because we are pretty much done with the our application is complete, but I'm just trying to show you why is it, anyways, for some reason okay, it's behaving weird. Alright, so we need a name, and say I don't know, John right, and then email, I don't know if it is my keyboard or something, and J2, that's going to be Gmail, password, I'm just gonna do 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. Alright, so this will register a new user, so send it and send the token back. So we have a token, okay, and I will just copy this token and put in this to header. Alright, paste it. This means we are logged. Now we have a token of this John Doe, and let's just do post request and add here a guest. So we do guests, okay, and then we are gonna go and remove this, and I'm gonna add a guest if I can. Alright, great, no idea what is happening here. Okay, so we need a name for our guest, and name, say I don't know, maybe Sarah, something like that, and phone is going to be 1 2 3 4 5 6 easy, and then we say is confirm to true. Just want to try with these only, these three only, because I have a default. So there we go. Yeah, because I have default set to non-veg. So we are getting, now we have for John Doe we have this guest, one guest. Okay, so if we do a guest get request on guests, and now we are as logged in as a John Doe, because actually let me just do another post and we change this to from Sarah to Sam, maybe Sam, and I'm just gonna leave everything as it is. Add oops, again, what is happening? Okay, I missed a comma here. Alright, so now we have two guests for this John Doe. Okay, so let's just quickly do a get request on guests, okay, for John Doe, because we have a token of John Doe here in header, so we should get John Doe's guests back, not for a threes. So what is this? Why is it giving an error? So that's that. Alright, there we go, because for some reason it's Postman and been playing up. Alright, so I think I had some like this. Alright, so if we do this, now we are getting those two guests for John Doe, Sarah and Sam. Okay, so which means our application is working totally fine. Alright, and the other thing which I notice here in the console errors, it is giving us our deprecation warning up here, which is, I just read it. So this one, find one and update, and find one and delete without this, is basically deprecated. So I'm just gonna copy paste this and then go into our config and db, and I will just say this to here, paste it, and I'll just say true. So hopefully now this deprecation would be gone if you guys are getting as well. Okay, so this is it, guys. Our backend is complete, so we can oops sorry, so we can register the user, we can log in the user, we can then add, remove, update and get guests for any user. So apparently our whole backend is complete. We don't have anything else to do here. So from next video we're gonna go back to our client side, so which means we will start working on authentication and integration from next video. And hopefully I will try not to make too many videos, because I know I already made too long and too many videos. So but as I said, I'm very new to this thing, so when I'm talking and I'm at the same time I'm typing and trying to explain, I'm trying slightly slow. I'm actually a lot slower than many of other people on YouTube and stuff, but yeah, you can change this playback speed, which is plus. So I will see you in the next parts, and please remember to subscribe. You know this, I'm going to request you again and again, but if you already have done it, so thumbs up, thank you so much, I really appreciate that, and yeah, I'll see you in the next part.